Hi, I just did a video on birth control pills and gut inflammation. I talked about the link between oral contraceptives or the pill and inflammatory bowel diseases. I talked about Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis. We talked about how oral contraceptives induce changes to the microbiome. In other words, they cause gut dysbiosis. We also talked about how the pill creates an inflammatory environment. And these changes alter the body's immune system, and they polarize the immune system towards autoimmunity. And in this particular case, how the pill has been associated with Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis disease, both which are autoimmune diseases. Today, I want to share some information with you on how the pill, in addition to causing dysbiosis, in addition to causing inflammation and setting the stage for Crohn's and ulcerative colitis, how it also induces something called intestinal permeability, also known as leaky gut. Now, leaky gut is a condition where the lining of the intestines becomes damaged and they become inflamed. And rather than acting like a barrier that blocks certain things from entering the bloodstream, it becomes permeable and porous. And when it becomes permeable, certain chemicals like undigested food proteins and bacterial toxins, environmental chemicals, these are all capable of leaking through the barrier and gaining entry into the bloodstream where they don't belong. Now, once in the bloodstream, the immune system recognizes these foreign invaders, whether it be a bacteria or toxins or foreign hormones or food proteins or environmental chemicals, and now we have a full-blown inflammatory immune response. Now, you've probably been hearing quite a bit about leaky gut, especially if you have any kind of GI problem. You've probably been hearing a lot about leaky gut, and so leaky gut can result in things like food sensitivities. It can result in poor nutrient absorption. Certainly a whole slew of skin conditions like rosacea and eczema and psoriasis. It can lead to things like asthma. It can lead to things like thyroid disease. And certainly inflammatory bowel disease has a prerequisite of having a leaky gut. So in other words, if you have a leaky gut, you can almost bet that your inflammatory bowel disease is tied in or is connected to that. Now, many studies have looked into and have shown that oral contraceptives modify this barrier. And here's just one example. Here's just one study. And you can see this here. Now, the good news is that we can test for leaky gut, and there are things that we can do to heal and repair this gut lining should you have this. Now, that's the good news. The bad news is that unlike some of the programs on the internet promising to heal your gut, your leaky gut in 30 days or 60 days or 90 days, depending on what's causing that leaky gut and what kind of leaky gut you have, it could easily take 12 months or longer to heal. So the key here is if you know that you have a leaky gut, the next logical sequence of questions that we need to ask is, what's causing my leaky gut? And that's where testing really comes into play. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about that, all right? So when I test for leaky gut, I'm really looking at several different leaky gut markers, if you will, right? And while there are some companies that test this in the stool, from the research that I've done, the most reliable and most accurate tested, and the one that's really kind of gained its acceptance, right? The best method of testing here is going to be through blood. Okay, so I would not recommend you test this through stool. Now, there are three main markers that I'm looking at if I determine testing is going to help me understand my patient's case better. The three main markers are LPS bacterial toxins, actomyosin network, and finally occludin and zonulin. Now, each of these markers reveals something different and helps me really understand several important points when it comes to working with my patient. I can't even begin to tell you how many people will contact my office and tell me that they have a leaky gut, and when I ask them, well, what kind of testing did you have done? And they tell me, well, I've never been tested. I have a leaky gut because I have XYZ symptoms, or I listened to somebody's podcast and I have from listening to that I'm positive I have a leaky gut. So unless you test for a leaky gut, you cannot make the assumption based on those symptoms. I tell you this because just last week I had a patient who contacted our office. He was from Germany. He called our office and he proceeds to tell me that he has a leaky gut. And when I asked him about his test results, he of course tells me, well, I've never been tested. He listened again to somebody's podcast, and based on those symptoms, he was convinced that he had a leaky gut. So let me show you a few examples of really what a leaky gut looks like, and really, if you're thinking about getting tested, why testing is important in terms of what it will show. Now, please keep in mind this, that each of these cases, testing does not tell us that it was the pill that caused this individual's leaky gut. All right? Now, what I can say is that research continues to show that the pill wrecks the gut and that it causes a leaky gut. Okay, but we can't make the inference that the leaky gut based on testing is solely caused by the birth control pill. Now, you and your treating doctor will need to determine if the risks of you taking a birth control pill outweighs the benefits of not taking the pill and wrecking your gut. But again, that's a conversation you need to have with your treating doctor. My only purpose in this video series is to provide you with information, and then it's up to you to decide what you want to do with that information and whether or not you taking the pill is beneficial, okay? So again, just keep that in mind, all right? Now, let's take a couple examples of different kinds of leaky gut and kind of go through these. Now, in this test, if you look here, what you're going to notice is that this person has elevated IgM antibodies against occludin and zonulin. This indicates that this person has a leaky gut, and what you'll also notice is that they also have positive antibodies to LPS IgM antibodies. Now that's very important, right? This is a person who most likely has a leaky gut for some time, right? And that one of the causes is from bacterial toxins called LPS, all right? LPS bacteria come from gram-negative bacteria, and they can create a huge immune inflammatory reaction in the body, right? So that's something that becomes very important from a treatment perspective. So let's take a look at another example here. Now in this case, this person has antibodies against actomycin, right? You can see here that the numbers are 53.93. They also have positive IgA and IgG, occludin and zonulin antibodies, and they also have antibodies against LPS bacteria, or lipopolysaccharides. We can see here IgA, IgG, and IgM antibodies. Now, this is a really bad case, right? This person is not going to correct their gut problem in a 90-day program or a 30-day program or a 60-day program, and probably not even in a 6-month program, all right? Will they have improvement in symptoms in this period of time? Maybe, but the gut will not be healed to the level that it needs to. And in most cases, once the patient starts to feel better, treatment will be discontinued and the patient will quickly begin to deteriorate once that treatment is discontinued. So again, the testing that's done also gives the doctor, the clinician who you're working with, a time frame of what is possible from a management standpoint. Right? This person needs further investigation into what else is causing this leaky gut. This person either knowingly or unknowingly has some kind of autoimmune disease related to the gut. They may have an infection. They may have dysbiosis. Did the pill cause all this? Who knows? But I can certainly say that being on the pill and having this kind of leaky gut is absolutely a disaster in the making. So in closing, as we wrap up today's video, remember the reason I showed you these tests and these studies was to help you further understand the real problem behind birth control pills that most doctors aren't talking about. These are real problems and often don't show up for several years and are really major sticking points for why some individuals suffer with chronic health problems for years and years and years and bounce from doctor to doctor to doctor, and unfortunately in most cases become a zombie from all the medications that are being put on. So again, just a few things. So far in this series, is the pill wrecking your gut? We've now talked about the pill and gut dysbiosis. We talked about the pill and gut inflammation. We talked about, in today's video, we added on to that, talking about how the pill also causes a leaky gut. Now, if you or someone you care about is struggling with ongoing IBS symptoms or some other kind of chronic health problem, it's not enough to simply take some probiotics and purchase someone's internet gut healing program. Right? You need to be tested in most cases, and in order for you to receive the right treatment, you should be tested, you should get treatment, and then finally you should be retested so you can see what kind of progress that you've made, and if the area, even though your symptoms may have abated and they're gone, whether or not you still need to work on that. So much of your health and your future health depends on good, healthy gut function. My last piece of advice for you, again, is if you or someone you love is struggling to find answers and you've hit a dead end, you've hit a brick road, so to speak, with conventional medicine, or even perhaps you began working with a functional medicine doctor and you're still not making the progress that you had hoped for. Maybe the full extent of what is causing your GI problem has never been fully unrooted or really discovered. It might be time to start working perhaps with another functional medicine doctor who not only has experience and success in these areas, but one who can also understand what kinds of testing need to be done in your case. Like I said in my last video, and it's worth repeating here, it's not uncommon for IBS sufferers to be dealing with multiple factors that are causing their symptoms. It may be gut dysbiosis, it might be leaky gut, it might be histamine intolerance, it might be a food allergy or a food intolerance, a food sensitivity, it might be inflammation, it might be SIBO, it might be a parasite, it might be a gallbladder problem, it might be a liver problem, or it might be some other kind of problem that we'll be talking about in future videos. All right? So if one of the problems is missed or not tested for, your treatment, unfortunately, is most likely going to be a disappointment. Perhaps that's what's happening to you. Again, this is why you want to look at the big picture. Again, so please don't give up. Don't think a solution doesn't exist out there, maybe because you've hit that brick road and you've tried maybe doing things naturally. There's always a cause, right? For every symptom, there's a cause, right? Don't think that you're going to have to live the rest of your life with the bloating and the gas and the diarrhea and the constipation. Again, there's always a cause. And you and your doctor may just need to dig a little bit deeper in order to unravel maybe just another layer of your GI problem. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed today's video on birth control pills and leaky gut. In my next video, I'm going to be talking about how the pill causes SIBO, or small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. So stay tuned. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And lastly, if you need help, visit my website. There's a tremendous amount of additional videos that you'll find there and articles that I've written. If you look at the Start Here tab, when you complete a health questionnaire telling us a little bit about what you're struggling with, what your goals are, what kind of problem that you're having, and what kind of help you're looking for, in about 30 minutes, I'll send you my recommendations on where you should start to begin that journey of regaining your health. Again, don't forget to tune into my next video where I'll talk about the pill's effects on gastrointestinal motility and how the changes in patterns of motility often lead to SIBO and other symptoms associated with SIBO. So again, we'll see you then. Take care.